Heyo, Deathman BTC. So, welcome back to the Order of the Thirsty Goat. Got another wonderful episode for you today. We're going to be playing some Heretic. Game developed on the Doom engine. I believe Ravensoft did the actual developing, but was used, it was, coded on the Doom engine, so notable. Took my meds this morning. How about you? Alright. We're just going to go through episode 1. City of the Dam. One of the nice things about this engine is that they were able to upgrade it very quickly and easily with an open source program called GZ Doom. Pretty sure originally came out on Linux and they ported to other platforms because it's fucking awesome. So, and they basically took the same sprite information and, the level designs and managed to turn it into a more 3D experience. Give it a little lighting upgrade. A little more OpenGL-like properties. So, it's a good game. I enjoy this one. Don't know much about the story, of course. Is there a story? Anything there? I don't have any original documentation either. So I got this from Steam. I love these wizard gauntlets. Fucking awesome. I'm not your buddy, guy. This is where it's at. you get back there is the question. The questione. I want all that ammo. I want it. Whatever. Next. Level design in this game is fucking relentless. There's a yellow door. It took me years to figure out that these orbs were like the key that you're supposed to get, and that's like what they, you know, what they were for. Hey! Hey, thanks for the host, man. Sure appreciate it. That green key. So I actually am old enough that I grew up playing this game, Dubrovko, and your lovely viewer that you brought along with you. Yeah, like this was, I didn't actually ever own Heretic. I had this shareware, so it was just like the first couple missions or whatever of the. I don't believe you got the whole episode 1. Like with Doom, I think you got the whole episode. But with this, I think it was just... Oh, and there wasn't a jump in this game either. So I think you got like level 1 and 2. Blue key. Bag of holding, those are always nice. But yeah, so this is one that I played these first couple episodes like a billion times, and then here we are. Like 30 years later or whatever. Not quite 30 years, but it's getting there. Getting close. Love the sound effects for this game. That's one thing that the Doom engine really had going for it, for sure, is like the ambient noise and stuff. Oh, these games got fucking creepy. I mean, even on the old Altic Lansing was the big producer of computer speakers. Like, this shit was terrifying. Now it's just, phew. say eventually they start. Yeah, okay. You got the first 2 levels of episode 1 in the shareware, because I remember when I had a friend who owned Heretic, and of course he would never let me take it home and install it because that's piracy. But anyway, he owned Heretic, and this is the first level where the imps start fucking throwing fire at you. I'm just like, ah! Not much, man. It's snowing pretty good where I am. The whole Midwest of the United States is getting kind of fist fucked with snow right now. Apparently down in St. Louis, where some of my family lives, there was a really bad accident yesterday when it started snowing, and like the whole city's like been shut down, kind of, you know. But later on today, I'm gonna go spend time with some family, and that's pretty much all I got planned. Green door. I'm gonna do my stream for a couple hours, then go clean my car off, and drive a half hour to take care of my nieces, so. What do you mean, Doom guy effects? And this game is built on the Doom engine, with collaboration from the people who made Doom. As a matter of fact, if you play the game Rage, which I think you came in and I was playing the other day, a lot of the sounds are just remastered, like reproduced sounds from this and Doom and fucking like everything that used the Doom engine. It's like they own all those sounds. It's ridiculous. Fun fact, Trent Reznor of Nine Inch Nails frequently collaborates with the guys at id Software for music and sound effects, so that's cool. I'm a big fan of Nine Inch Nails myself. Oh yeah, no, yeah, for sure. Yeah, you can kind of tell, like, you know, it's very formulaic the way they design the games. So, you know, yeah, there's definitely lower level enemies that get progressively harder. Not just the revenants either, like, you know, this would be like the equivalent of like the shotgun guy and the marine, and then later you get those weird fucking like xenomorph looking things. Yeah. And then, like, I don't know if you've ever seen me play one called Strife. That was also built off the Doom engine and done by Ravensoft. That one's kind of its own monster, though, because, like, that one's kind of more like Hexen, where, you know, you move between areas and stuff changes as you do it. I don't know how else to explain it. That's a fun one. I enjoy that one a lot. One of the dudes I watched stream, I can't remember his name right offhand, and I don't have my window open, but he was not figuring this game out very well. But like I said, they're really formulaic. Like, you know, in Wolfenstein you had silver and gold keys, and then in Doom now we got red, green, and blue keys, or red, yellow, and blue keys, and you know, in this they got green and yellow and blue. But the idea is that, you know, run here, grab a key, run back, open a door, hit a fucking button in there, go get another key, open another door. You know, it's like a big puzzle. And once you realize that, the game actually becomes pretty understandable and easy. So the guard tower. Let's hope it worked. Never tried that, I don't think. That, and you can always kind of tell, like, what weapon you need to use based on what ammo is, like, you know, being forked out. Like, they intended for you to use this because they laid a bunch of ammo for it around. I didn't get that when I was a kid. It was kind of dumb. But in reality, I was like a 6-year-old or whatever, 5 and 6 years old playing these games, so... realistically looking back on it, I was actually doing something pretty advanced for my age. You know, today kids are playing video games, but video games have also been streamlined, so they're more user-friendly. You know, when they first started coming out, they were just kind of difficult. If you look on my description underneath the stream or whatever, I have a section about my gear. I like it. It's good enough for me. It's not like top of the line, but... Oh, that sucked. Good enough to play newer games pretty well. You know, I get, I'd say, a pretty solid 60 frames on just about everything, 1080p. I don't have a monitor to run 4K, so I don't. But it would run 4K. It can run. It can run VR, but I don't have a VR headset yet. Someday I think I'll get one though, and I'll probably stream that too. So, well, I do a lot of video editing and image manipulation. So I wanted to have plenty of RAM. Because I don't know if you're aware of how it works, but every one of those calculations you're doing, every one of those changes you make, you want to be able to undo them. They have to be stored somewhere. Well, they store that stuff in the RAM, and if you don't have enough, then they put it on the page file, and if it has to go back and forth between the page file, then it takes too much time. So just having a shitload of RAM saves you a lot of time and frustration, at least in my opinion. So, if you're doing any sort of development where you're going to be making changes to a document, like any document work, typically requires plenty of RAM. So I wanted to do animations and possibly even 3D renderings, 3D animations, things like that. So I just made sure I had what I needed. And my friend was hooking me up with a new computer because mine got struck by lightning, and like he's really awesome, and I'm really grateful for him because he basically lets me stay in one of his houses, and he's trying to help me get set up with his streaming thing so that like I got a way to make money because I'm disabled because of my major depressive disorder. And this has actually been really good for me because it gives me something to do every day, and even if I only do it for, you know, a half an hour or 45 minutes, I still did something. And when I tool around with GIMP or something, you know, I got a purpose. And then tomorrow, that work that I did in GIMP will be useful because I'm going to be doing my stream, and I'll have an animation used, or I'll have, you know, new custom images or whatever, you know. And I do work with Audacity too. I do sound work as well. Now that I think about it, I edit songs and sounds, engineer sounds. So. Yep, just needed a lot of RAM, man. And having been a computer science nerd, that's what I studied when I went to college. I have a pretty good idea of what actually goes on and what's useful and helpful for you. So. Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, usually I'm a t-shirt and jeans kind of guy. So actually, this is mostly what I used to look like. After I got married, I started buying, you know, shirts with colors in, because I had to match my ex-wife sometimes. But now I'm not married, so I just don't care about my appearance. I usually just buy, you know, comic shirts or band shirts anymore. But yep, t-shirt and jeans guy. I kind of want to. I found out it's funny. You're the angry video game nerd fan. I actually, my very first stream, I wore a button-down shirt, and I was gonna do this whole, like, you know, pocket protector nerd thing. And then I saw like one episode of that, and I was like, well, fuck, this guy's already doing it. I'm not. That's, you know, that's his thing. I'm not gonna try and piggyback on his thing. I want my thing. So, yeah, and the beanie is just because it's cold as fuck, because I live in a basement, so. I remember now. It's that room that I was in that's kind of weird. Alright, where are you at, yellow door? Well, I figured, I mean, like last night I was talking about gimmicks and, you know, entertainment and stuff, like, I figured that'd be like a way to, like, engage the audience that, like, that's the type of person I am, because I don't really look like a computer nerd. You know, I mostly look like, I don't know, a burnout, or maybe somebody you'd buy your pot from, but, like, I don't look like a computer nerd, and, yeah, a homeless person, definitely look like that. There it is, there's that green key. I always miss this one. So I thought that'd be a way to engage the audience and say, hey, I'm a computer nerd. But then I saw the Angry Video Game Nerds thing, and I was like, I can't, that's that guy's thing. I don't want to take somebody else's thing, I want to do my thing. So, I don't know, there's not too many guys on here listening to Talking Heads and Tool and A Perfect Circle and, you know, like, I got my own very eclectic style, and I feel that those people that like me are gonna really enjoy my entertainment value the way they do in real life, because you know, I'm a performer out here too, IRL, so but it's not, I mean, it's not even a desire thing. Like, I am a nerd. Like, sitting and doing tedious, you know, image manipulation is something that makes me calm because I'm a nerd. Like, where's that fucking green door at? I always lose track of the doors. It's not in here, it's out here somewhere, I'm pretty sure. Is it up by the start? You know, like, I think it's cool that the man hours, literal hours and years of, you know, work, and that's all it is. It's just putting things together like in a logical manner so that they can be recalled logically to create these illusions. Like, this is an illusion that I have control over this screen. It's an illusion that I'm shooting a crossbow. But they make these really, now today, very realistic, but at the time, you know, innovative illusions. And these illusions exist because somebody took the time to make a device that sat and changed all the fucking pixels, and, you know, the first palette was 256 colors, then they moved up to 16 million colors, now there's a fuckload of colors. Like, I don't know, it's ridiculous. And it's basically just manipulation of voltage levels and having that done so, having that done in an environment that, like, I don't know, it's really neat to me. Computer science is just one of the neatest things in the world. Like, this is just happening, this is like all really simple, you know, binary effects that are all happening really fast. This is just happening millions upon millions of times a second. And that's what's making this all take place, or appear to be taking place. Where is the fucking green door? Blue door is over here. I kept running by the green door and being like, man, where's that fucking green key at? And now I have no idea where the green door is. Oh, it's inside the yellow room, that's why. Okay. Well, and that's what I think is neat about computer science, because it's not just, you know, a science, it's an art form now. Like, but basically, yeah, like they took the human sensory reality maker and made an illusion out of it. Like, and that itself, I think, has been very helpful in science coming to understand the concepts of the metaphysical. But yeah. Yeah, but I mean, really, all these guys are doing is just taking, you know, the fact that reality is an illusion and capitalizing on that and just kind of cutting out the middleman, you know? Like, hey, we can create virtual realities just by interacting with the human sensory organs. That itself is pretty cool, I think. But yeah, I mean, just think about what's happening right now. Like, in actuality, I'm sitting alone in a basement with something covering my ears and something captivating my eyes. Like, the only thing they could do more is, you know, stick something in my mouth and over my nose to give me smells and tastes. And haptic suits to give me sensations. Like, and they do that. They're working on that stuff. So, I don't know. I think that science would not have come to the idea even that life is an illusion, and, you know, and they never would have got there if it wasn't for computer scientists and what they did. Which I think is the reason why the Matrix was set in a hacker, you know, a hacker universe, like... Because that is kind of like the, you know, the part of humanity that had a chance at even reaching that understanding, because we saw firsthand the illusions that were being made and went, whoa, could this just be happening on a large scale right now? I came up with a theory on all that myself, and I illustrated it in the audio comedy I made with my friend called Carpet Surfing, where basically God and the devil are the same, and the only reason they're separated in anybody's mind is to create the illusion of free will and choice and, you know, salvation, redemption, things that our organism apparently needs for some reason. Because, I mean, it's been part of our organism since times immemorable to be looking for a savior figure. I mean, there were so many messiahs before Christ. There were so many messianic figures before Christ. You know, Mithra, Horus. I think the question is kind of like, why do we feel the need to be saved? Why do we feel like we need someone to redeem us? I think maybe the answer is that we're God, and Satan is an externalization of our divinity. And it's as Nietzsche said, this world is a will to power. So who's gonna win? You or the external version of you? The one that's outside of you? Who's gonna win? Is it us or them? You know? I say we should win. I say, why give in? Why give up? The external version of me isn't going to do anything greater with the power and authority it gains. Hello? Well, yeah, and that's kind of the thing. Like, I've noticed a lot of folks in Christianity tend to use their Messiah figure as, like, an excuse to do whatever they want. And it's like, I don't really think that's the message that Messiah figure was going for. But, I don't know. I don't know. I ate a lot of mushrooms to come up with these thoughts, so maybe everybody should do that, and they'd understand their own divinity. Yeah, well, I mean, a lot can be said about the self-fulfilling prophetic nature of the scriptures. Like, it's almost the same way that law exploits what are simply human behaviors. You know, theft, rape, murder. These are all human behaviors. Whether we want to accept them as that or not. Whether we want to, you know, say to ourselves, like, yeah, but only a monster would do that. Well, sure, maybe. Maybe only a monster would do that. But that monster is still a person. And that's something I think a lot of people have difficulty rectifying within themselves. So yeah, like, you know, Aristotle wrote a whole piece on it too in The Republic. Do you ever read anything about the cave dwellers in... Or no, it was Plato's Republic, sorry. Plato's Republic. And it's funny because, like, Aristotle was kind of Socrates' boy. You know, that was his little protege. And Plato was Aristotle's protege. And, basically everything Aristotle said was just like the opposite of what Socrates would have said. So it's almost as if they lived in a world where it was like, you know, I don't know how to put it, like, we just do whatever's the opposite of what Dad said, you know? But are you familiar with the cave dwellers? The metaphor of the cave dwellers? Oh, I don't know if that's true. I think often we manifest as darkness and hate simply because we lose track of who we are. We lose track of what we are. And like I said, we're all divine. We're all God. Every one of us simultaneously is the same creature. You know, it's like Bill Hicks said, we're all one consciousness experiencing itself subjectively. There's no such thing as death. Life is but a dream, and we're the imagination of ourselves. Here's Tom with the weather. Let's see. One second. We will get back to this in a moment. Okay. This is worth sharing, I think. Oh no. I loaded up Blizzard.
This will be
and now
a brief introduction to the allegory of the cave. This is part of a Socratic dialogue in Plato's Republic. I'll drop some links.
Okay, one second. I'm going to full screen this and get us all watching it quick. Primary monitor. View that. And here we go.
Below if you'd like to read along. However, others have done quite a good job presenting this, so I'm going to let Orson Welles talk, and in my next few videos I will be diving further into Plato's Republic.
Let me show in a parable to what extent our nature is enlightened or unenlightened. Envision human figures living in an underground cave with a long entrance across the whole width of the cave. Here they have been from their childhood and have their legs and necks chained so that they cannot move and can only see before them, being prevented by the chains from turning their heads around. Above and behind them, a fire is blazing at a distance. They see only their own shadows, which the fire throws on the opposite wall of the cave. For how could they see anything but the shadows if they were never allowed to move their heads? Between the fire and the prisoners, there is a raised way, and a low wall built along the way like the screen which puppet players have in front of them, over which they show the puppets.
It's a good one, though. I think it's worth sharing.
Do you see men passing along the wall, carrying all sorts of articles which they hold projected above the wall?
So this, you know, Plato talked about, Plato talked about this long before the Bible was written and published, you know, and circulated around the world. So this is a concept. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy to say that Christianity would be oppressed, and to give some sort of like enlightenment to someone who's being oppressed it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's the same way that we fine people for doing things that humans just do, as horrible as they might seem at times. Yeah.
Materials of the objects which are being carried in like manner, they would only see the shadows. And if they were able to converse with one another, would they not suppose that they were naming what was actually before them? And suppose further that there was an echo which came from the wall. Would they not be sure to think when one of the passers-by spoke that the voice came from the To them, the truth would be literally nothing but the shadows of the images. And now look again and see what will naturally follow.
Oh no, I fully agree.
At first, when he is liberated and compelled...
A lot of people would think that I consider myself Christian, and while I was baptized and I was raised in the church, I don't think of myself as Christian because of the things that I've seen Christians do. But dude, the message that Christ was sharing with the world, phenomenal. Like, love your neighbor as yourself. What a better way, or what better way is there to, you know, connect? I don't know.
Suddenly to stand up and turn his head round and look towards the light. All this would hurt him, and he would be much too dazzled to see distinctly those things whose shadows he had seen before. And then conceive someone saying to him that what he saw before was an illusion. But that now, when he's approaching nearer to reality and his eyes turn toward more real existence, he has a clearer vision.
But the ultimate end to this story is we kill the messenger.
Further imagine that his instructor is pointing
you
to
know,
the objects as
Jesus being here and saying the things he said is why he got crucified, man. It's the allegory of the cave.
That the shadows which he formerly saw are truer than the objects which are now shown to him? And suppose once more that he is reluctantly dragged up a steep and rugged ascent and held fast until he is forced into the presence of the sun himself. When he approaches the light, his eyes will be dazzled, and he will not be able to see anything at all of what are now called realities. He will require to grow accustomed to the sight of the upper world. First, he will see the shadows best. Next, the reflections of objects in the water, and then the objects themselves. Then he will gaze upon the stars and the spangled heavens, and the light of the moon. He will see the sky and the stars by night. Last of all, he will be able to see the sun. And not mere reflections of it in the water, but he will see the sun in its own proper place, and not in another. And he will contemplate the sun as it is. Will he not then proceed to argue that it is the sun who gives the season and the years, and is the guardian of all that is in the visible world, and in a certain way the cause of all things which his fellows have been accustomed to behold? Clearly he would first see the sun, and then reason about it. And when he remembered his old habitation and what was the wisdom of the cave and his fellow prisoners, do you not suppose that he would bless himself for the change and pity them? And if they were in the habit of conferring honors among themselves on those who were the quickest to observe the passing shadows, and to remark which of them went before and which followed after, and which were together, and who were therefore best able to draw conclusions as to the future, do you think that he would care for such honors and glories, or envy the possessors of them? Would he not say with Homer, "Better to be the poor servant of a poor master, and to endure anything rather than think as they do and live after their manner"? Imagine once more such a one coming suddenly out of the sun to be replaced in his old situation. Would he not be certain to have his eyes full of darkness? And if there were a contest of measuring the shadows, and he had to compete with the prisoners who had never moved out of the den, while his sight was still weak, and before his eyes had become steady, wouldn't they all laugh at him and say he had spoiled his eyesight by going up there? And that it was better not to even think of ascending? And if anyone tried to release another and lead him up to the light, let them only catch the offender, and they would put him to death.
So I always thought that that allegory spoke directly to the fact that they charged Socrates with corrupting the youth and forced them to drink hemlock.
To learning and to see the good, but to be willing to descend again to those prisoners and to share their troubles and their honors, whether they are worth having or not. And this they must do, even with the prospect of death.
You know, and like this is like Cypher. You can't get put back in the Matrix. You can't go back once you've been taken out.
Is able to help the community.
So anyway, that is the allegory of the cave dwellers. And I think it speaks remarkably on what we were speaking about earlier. Those are just the ones I have installed, man. I collect games, actually. You should see my Xbox. My son told me yesterday, the day before, that we have like 154 games now. Oh, I have the yellow key. Dur. Sure. Well, I have the benefit of being 34, so I started collecting most of these games when I was young and had money. Basically, I mean, I don't know what it's like over there, but basically in America, if you don't have children and you have a job, you can pretty much buy whatever you want. Then I started having kids. Now I don't have money for shit. My friend had to buy me my computer because I don't have money for one. Yeah. Yeah, I used to collect comic books, and I was the same way. But once again, I don't have money now, so I can't really collect comic books. I used to do that with 9 Inch Nails albums, actually. I don't know if you're a fan of 9 Inch Nails at all, but Trent Reznor, like, was his own bootleg whore, basically. He'd fucking sell copies of concerts and, you know, do different versions of the songs for different countries, like... Here's how I look at it. You have to do what makes you feel that way. Some people get by with just what they have, and other people have to have more. Some people choose to get more on their own. Some people choose to not care about the effect they have on others while they're looking for, you know, what they want. But I mean, at the end of the day, you've got to do what makes you happy. You know, it's unfortunate when people are made happy by very shallow things, but that's on them. That's their organism, not mine, so... I mean, I see happiness as being something that exists within me. Other people see happiness as an external thing. You know, so it's just all comes down to the person. Hey, what's going on, man? We've been discussing various philosophical and spiritual themes today. We talked about Plato's Republic. divinity of man. Just a number of things. I guess all life is on a spectrum. You know, there's an extreme on this side, an extreme on this side, and people fall within it somewhere, you know. So those individuals that externalize their happiness will do whatever it takes. They'll hurt other people to get what they want. People like myself who internalize their happiness just find ways to be happy because that's what I'm here to do. Eat, drink, and be merry. I don't know. That's all we really can do. No. I don't think money itself is the answer. What the power that it gives you, the illusion of power that it gives you, is really what makes you feel better. You know, I remember one time my mom was obviously very depressed. She didn't have any money, and you know, while she didn't have any money because of her own stupidity, I just gave her the last little bit of money I had in my whole life. I had like $400 saved up. I was going to try and get a different place so I didn't have to live in a basement. And that was going to go towards my deposit. And it's like, well, she looks like she's ready to kill herself because she doesn't have a cent to her name. So I just gave her the money. You know, and she felt better about life because she could call the electric company and make a payment to them, and you know, call her credit card company and make a payment to them, and like that made her feel better about life. I don't understand it. It's not how I would feel better about life, but it clearly had an effect on her. Like, you know, just the same way as like I don't feel that I'm being annoying, but if I'm clearly being annoying to people, then I'm fucking being annoying. Like, that's something I just had to learn. A little bit autistic, but, you know, whatever. I still think, yeah, they're lost. They don't want to be around me, or they don't want to, you know, listen to the things I have to say. I don't give a fuck, though. You know. Now it's like, hey, man, I don't have any obligation to fucking share with you. You don't want it, I'm not gonna force feed it to you. So, happiness is an individual trick, and we all gotta learn how to pull it on ourselves. Yeah, I know. She said you were the first person to like it, and she laughed pretty hard. Because I explained to Connor one day about how, like, your friends are people that, you know, just think your mom's hot and they let her feed them. And I was like, case in point, you know, Casey would come over and be like, damn, your mom used to be hot. And mom's like, what? I would direct you to my Facebook, but I don't have her on my Facebook because she's one of the most annoying creatures on the planet. So that's like the cost of existence. If there was ever a cost to existing, you have to have a mother and a father. You can't escape that. Somebody exists that's going to tell the world about all the things that you've ever done. Just because they think they're awesome for knowing it. Oh, I used to change his diaper, so I knew everything about him. To give you an idea, though, man, she was tall and she was slender. And that's pretty much what does it for men, so, you know. Now she's just tall and beefy because somebody fed her for years. If she had to feed herself, she probably wouldn't be as big. Yeah. Some of us luck out. My father died, and he was awesome, and I'm left with my mom, so I feel pretty fucking unlucky, but, you know, whatever. I make the best of it. Your dad would still embarrass you at the flick of a hat, though, if given the opportunity. If you became famous and he wasn't, you know, dead yet, he would be the guy on CNN, like, with the tell-all. know, I could just see it now. Like, oh, tell us about your son, sir. Well, he's the only kid who could ever tell you the flavor of a lifesaver by sitting on it. What do you mean used to? He probably still does take huge shits and masturbate to National Geographic. Oh, are you talking about me? It's like everybody knows that. Oh, he would say that. No, yeah. You did take huge shits. Everybody masturbated to National Geographic. That's like what they made that for. Alright, we gotta get him hooked young on the idea of seeing naked chicks in magazines. So we'll give him National Geographic. Show him little underage girls that can never sue us, and then, you know, they'll be primed and ready for adulthood. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's all about perspective, too. Like, you know. Like, you know. You never learned awful things about your mother through her actions. She, you know, she's a memory. It's like I didn't learn awful things about my dad by his actions. He was fucking awesome. But, you know, getting to know my elder brothers and sisters, that man was... he was an evil fucker. the fuck? However, I learned how awful my mother is. Fucking steals from me and she's just genuinely an asshole. So, you learned about your dad what I learned about my mom. God damn. Yeah, well, my brothers and sisters all told me. Plus, he probably told me anyway. God damn, this is a difficult final level. This is just gonna take some attrition, I think. Him telling me the story about crossing the Mexican border with his dad and robbing a sheriff was enough for me to remember and go, fuck man, my dad was a bit of a criminal. He ever tell you that story? Yeah. People did not... I mean, like, I thought I was vicious. Then I fucking listened to the stuff my dad used to do. I see where I get it from, though. Yeah, so him and my grandpa were going to Mexico to their, you know, drinking holiday or whatever. And, he stopped at a gas station in Texas, like, just on this side of the border. And the guy who owned it saw him buy a couple Cokes, you know, and dump them out. So he knew he was putting drinks in them. So he's putting whiskey in his Coke. And even back then, that wasn't allowed. So this guy was gonna fucking, you know, this guy was basically said, you know, he's the sheriff too of the town. So it was basically, you know, you're gonna go to jail or you can pay me the fine. So he extorted money from my dad. And my dad was like, yeah, that's not alright though. So he decided he was gonna fucking get the money back. He drove a couple blocks away, parked his fucking car, told Grandpa, oh, I'll be right back, I forgot something, you know. And walked through the back door, knocked the motherfucker out with a blunt object, took all the money out of the register, all the money that cop extorted from him, and helped himself to whatever he wanted, and left. Came back from Mexico a week later, went to the same gas station, looked this guy in the eyes while he told him the story about how he got rolled right after Dad and Grandpa left, and he was apologizing for taking the money from him and, you know, being a dick. And, like, what? So that's my dad. I wondered where I got it from. It was from him. Best friend, worst fucking enemy. Fuck. Probably Barons. So you know my whole I fought the law and the law won kind of attitude, but I still fight the law? I get that from Dad, wholeheartedly. Had no idea, because he was always the one. But now that I think about it, I always tell my kid to obey the rules, because I know he's going to figure out that they're bullshit at some point, and I got to get him in good behavior right now before he fucking really figures it out. I guess that explains, though, like, why my dad was a biker and a drunk, and, like, he knew what was going on. Oh, the ground in there is lava. Shit. This is just a tough level. Well, back then, games weren't, you know, judged on how good they were for the plebes. fuck's sake. Yeah, old school stuff is definitely not easy. Fucking relentless. No, probably not. I mean, I might play after this a little bit, but I'm not going to stream it, I don't think. I am just kind of doing my stream so I get it done today, because I got to take care of my nieces tonight, so... Yes, people leave me in charge of their children. I was just as surprised as you guys. With the destruction of the Iron Liches and their minions, the last of the undead are cleared from this plane of existence. Those creatures had to come from somewhere, though, and you have a sneaking suspicion that the fiery portal of Hell's Maw opens onto their home dimension. To make sure that more undead or even worse things don't come through, you'll have to seal Hell's Maw from the other side. Of course, this means you may get stuck in the very unfriendly world, but no one ever said being a heretic was easy. So there you go, episode 1 of Heretic. I will be back with episode 2. What time is it? Shit, I could probably do episode 2 today. It's a tough one, I gotta think about that, but I think I'll go play some PUBG with my buddy Casey. Thank you so much, Casey and Dubravko, for coming in and chatting. Thank you, Dubravko, for the host earlier. That was very nice. And I very much appreciate our conversations. And I'm so glad that you're supporting me and helping me out, man. And I will see you when you get on your PC, Casey. So enjoy your day, guys. And thanks for coming in. And have yourselves a wonderful time.